Hey Morty, we're doing a podcast. It's me, Rick.
Rick and Morty's terrible humour that I do not enjoy in any way, shape, or form.
God, that's not marketable. Kids love Rick and Morty. Our audience of 12 people loves Rick and Morty, I think. Let's see if you like this one, okay? Welcome, dear listeners, to the premier Elon Musk podcast. You've made it to episode 301 of The Musketeers, and we are so happy to have you. Today's topic, Adolf Hitler. Some of the optics around this guy, a little bit sketchy. What do you think?
I think that we should stick to Mythtakes Happen, because that's
the
worst idea.
The Musketeers, and we actually start on episode 301, right?
Not 333.
Why 333?
Then let all the conspiracy people decide that that's some sort of numerology thing going on.
Oh yeah, they love numbers as long as they're not complicated.
Or they make them as complicated as possible, just in no way that resembles reality.
They love 88. I haven't found out why.
I don't care to look too much further into that. I've already decided.
Yes, welcome to Small Mythtakes, which is a bonus episode that we do between our normal episodes to keep you interested, and also because we enjoy the sound of each other's voices and our own voices.
It's true, we do enjoy the sound of our own voices.
Who wouldn't?
Well then. Well, hopefully our listeners.
So the way this works, our format is that each person has brought with them the name of an artifact, a place, and a person, and the other host will have to talk about that and define that and put it into our setting.
That's it?
Yeah, that's it. I have actually two sets of those. One is alliterative and one isn't. That's the only difference. I think in terms of quality, they're both fine, but I did
set their expectations high.
Okay, sorry.
Fine, or are they fine?
In terms of quality, these prompts may be the single greatest achievement of Western culture to date.
I believe it. I'm looking forward to them. And you have to pick between two.
I have to pick between two. I have a coin. This is a 100 yen coin that I have sourced from the mysterious East. Eventually, you get a pocket full of coins. Some of them are 1 yen coins, but they're very, very hard to flip because they're very thin.
Light.
They're so light. Anyway, but those are the coins that Japanese homeless people eat. That's why they're so thin. Anyway, so I'm going to do heads or tails, and heads I think is going to be alliterative, and tails is going to be not alliterative.
You dropped it?
I flipped it, and then it dropped very loudly onto the desk. What am I supposed to do? Oh my god! Catch it? There's no lights in this room. I'm going to hurt myself. Okay, hold on. I'm going to do it in front of the camera. It's gone forever now.
All right. Well, what was the first option then?
It was heads, but I forgot what it did.
Well, you were doing tails for non-alliterative, so heads was alliterative.
I think you're starting.
This definitely my turn to start.
My nose. This is good.
I'm glad we're on camera today. This is
good quality viewing.
And for the first time being on camera, I'm not in my usual setup. This is in the other study. So,
I put on so much makeup.
Oh, I look like this every day. Do
duck face. It's supposed to make me look sexy.
You always look sexy, Chris.
Oh, thank you.
Don't need duck face.
That's good. I'm definitely uploading that clip.
Hell yeah. I sit by it. I'd stand by it, but I'm sitting down. All right. So I'm going first. So I think we might start with a person today.
Oh my god. Okay.
And the person I have for you is called Runa, the Cyclopean Seer. That is Runna. Runa, the Cyclopean Seer.
The Cyclopean Seer.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that must sound really good in the recording, how we say it at the same time.
I like to say.
Runa, the Cyclopean Seer.
Perhaps even Runa, if you want to roll your R's. I know you do that very well.
Runa. I had to go to a speech pathologist when I was a child because I couldn't roll my R's. And then we came to Australia and wow, It's just pointless. They should have just kept me illiterate. That's not illiteracy. That's just being a bad person. If you pronounce things wrong, or if you have a speech impediment, that is just. I think that's God's curse.
I would like to suggest that, in fact, speech impediments are in no way a moral judgment or value on anybody.
I mean, why? Like, the cartoon pig. What's his name? The Porky Man.
Pig. Yes.
Porky Pig. Yes, the Pork Man. Yes, Porky Pig. He has a speech impediment.
Yes.
And it's supposed to indicate of how far he has fallen. Isn't it? Isn't that the whole thing?
No, if I remember correctly, it was something to do with the fact that the original voice actor did something that practically nobody else could do to guarantee his continued employment.
Okay. That's pretty good. Okay. But AI can do that now, so that's why no speech impediments.
In the same way it can do every other things. Very badly.
Okay, Runa, the Cyclopean Seer.
Yes, let's return to Runa, the Cyclopean Seer.
Okay. Actually, I do have a notion here. So I think Runa, the Cyclopean Seer, is a character who is no longer around. Runa, I think, would be a figure from the early days of the Great Consociate Empire. And Runa herself was also an orc. Depending on when we release this, you'll find out more about orcs in episode 3? Am I right?
Yeah, that's
I believe in episode 3.
And just how important orcs are to the Great Consociate, in fact.
Extremely foundational, in fact. Mm-hmm. I think Runa, the Cyclopean Seer, she was legitimately a seer who could see glimpses of the future. And the particular glimpses of the future that she saw and talked about to her friend, Gruvold, who eventually ascended to godhood, were glimpses of a future in which the Great Consociate Empire spans the entire globe. A completely dominated society, but a society that is free from, I suppose, the things that divide us. They're all one culture, one perfect culture, as defined by whatever the Empire says. She's called the Cyclopean Seer because early in her life she lost an eye to an arrow that was tipped with wraith quartz.
Is that related in any way to her gaining her future sight?
I would say so, yeah. The mechanics of that, it's magic. So... Yeah. I think, could have infused some part of her or got close to the brain or something like that. And some of that latent magical power created a kind of link where she was getting all these images. The truth of the matter, I think, is that the images that she was getting were just the strongest. They were like reflections of the strongest thoughts around her. And the strongest thoughts around her were Gruvold's. And Gruvold felt very passionately about the dominance of his nation over other nations and spreading his message of tolerance and
punching people with fists.
Punching people with fists and anti-slavery, which, as we determined, was Yeah. So I have the feeling what might have happened is that she was picking up on some of his wonderful, dreams of the future, some of those noble ideas. And the magic inside her was showing her these potential futures in a way that she interpreted to be, hey, buddy, this is how it's going to be. This is your great destiny. And it created a kind of feedback loop where, self-fulfilling prophecy.
She definitely was saying something truthful about the future.
Definitely. Yeah.
And I like this. Do you reckon she kept the Wraithstone arrowhead in her eye? So I think in the socket?
I think probably they tried to remove most of it, but what actually gave her the power was lodged so deep that they would kill her. We're talking about medieval science.
Even with magic, there's only so much you can
with
do
magic.
Start mucking out the brain.
That's right. Yeah.
All right.
Do we like that one?
I do. I think it's important that she gets her future sight after the arrow to the face. Otherwise, it gets a little bit,
After,
did you see this coming? So.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, she'd get it after.
Yeah. No, I very much like that. I very much like that. So yeah, she's will be an important individual, both historically, but also within the Church of Groovols and the culture of the Great Consociate.
And we can have a chat about that in a future episode as well, because
Yeah.
I think that's one of those central ideas that we can talk about, which is really good. And also, look at this, women. We've done it. We've put women into our setting.
We've already got several major, powerful women in our setting.
Oh yeah, that's right. No, we do. Oh God,
Stola Tander and Stratomark in one of the later episodes.
That's true. Mm-hmm. Actually, I tend to gravitate towards female characters anyway. Women are just better.
I tend to think humanity is much of a muchness, but particularly at the moment in the world, it's a little hard to argue otherwise. All right.
Oh, is this why you said no? Is this why you said no to my Elon Musk podcast idea?
It is one of the thousands of reasons.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Wait, am I doing? I'm doing the alliterative.
Yes, you're doing the alliterative one.
The alliterative one. Yeah, I've got one for you.
Cool.
Okay. I will also have a person for you then. Your person is Adeline Anson, architect of the abacus.
Adeline Anson, architect of the abacus. Oh, I do love the alliteration. It's a lot of fun.
Would you like me to send that to you as a text?
No. Well, you know what? Let's do that. That'd be great, actually.
Well, I'll turn off my mic so that the keyboard clicks don't make it into the recording too much.
We can cut a bit of this out anyway, but yes. Oh, no, we can't because we're doing visuals. Oh, my God. All right. So this is a real tricky one because I've got to come up with what exactly is the abacus that she is the architect of and so famous for it that it becomes her title. It does feel like a her to me.
Yes, more female representation. You're welcome, ladies.
The abacus is not a thing.
Mm-hmm.
The abacus is a system.
Okay.
I'm touching on ideas here. It is a system for moving like population and what is needed where. I've got a little bit of foundation sort of going on here that it's a not to anywhere near that full extent, but the idea is that it is about getting the right products and the right people in the right places at the right time. The abacus is a highly complicated and extraordinarily controversial system that Adeline has come up with. And I believe, this is definitely a unfettered league situation, I think. And it's nice we've got people on each side. They're pushing this new method of like shifting people from villages and towns, encouraging certain villages to make only certain types of products or focus on ones and not in the other in a way that's going to supercharge the unfettered league and in a series of specializations and so forth. Now, it's been trialed in certain areas with a certain amount of success, although how much of that is just good fortune and how much is not. But Adeline has the ear of a few members of the Council of the Unfettered League, by no means the majority, and so there's part of the political push and pull is they pushing this new method of governance.
Interesting. It has a shades of the Cultural Revolution, I think.
Oh yes, it does.
Yeah.
It's definitely one of those. It's very utilitarian. It's trying to bring people's ability to flourish and their happiness and reducing it down to numbers and reducing people down to beads on an abacus.
Could work.
Yeah. Like maybe it's working, maybe it's not. Maybe it works only up to a certain point, and then the restrictiveness of it all will get in the way. Is it counter
works for some, doesn't work for others? Yeah.
Is it just counter to the very soul of the Unfettered League because it is very controlling, and the Unfettered League is culturally, at least, places itself as the truly free ones from the hegemony of the Great Consociate and the Old Concordate?
But being an imperial power, a lot of that is about optics. So
exactly.
What do the people think about this system? Like, are they liking it? Yeah. That's really good. I like that.
All right. Adeline Anson. Neat.
Okay. What have you got for me?
I'm going to pull it up. I am not on my
I've got to
personal
pull it.
PC, everyone, so I'm having to use my Fellatone. All right, let's do an artifact.
Let's do it.
The Bacchanal. I will put that into the chat.
The Bacchanal.
B.
Bacchanal.
A
Is that a word already?
E-N-A-R. Gosh, I hope not.
The Bacchanal.
Yes.
Bacchanal. Okay. I like that word. Yeah, the word, it's a strong word. It's got that sound that I like. Bacchanal.
Bacchanal.
Bacchanal. Yes. Oh, that's good. Yeah, Bacchanal. Bacchanal. And it's an artifact.
It is an artifact.
Okay. Bacchanal. The Bacchanal. Bacchanal. Okay. I'm thinking that the Bacchanal is an artifact that was quite recently in our history found very, 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 very deep in the deep vaults, perhaps as far as the World's Grave layer.
Right. So recently found, but it must be very old if it's that deep.
It is extremely old. It predates the Concordate, which is, for our new listeners, the culture that actually just directly predates our two imperial powers, the Unfettered League and the Great Consociate Empire. So this is what I'm imagining. I think in fantasy we do a lot of stuff with amulets and things. So I'm thinking that this is an amulet, and it's an amulet of wayfinding. So the Bacchanal gives its wearer a very accurate, although limited, understanding of the layout of the terrain around them, which is something that's very useful in the deep vaults themselves under the city of Heliacon. So this is something that's been used by elite teams of delvers to try to map out the sort of the shallows layer a little better than it has been. And that's been working. And of course, the deeper you go into the deep vaults, the less sense the geography makes. But it is, while you're there, it is something that gives you almost it's an intuitive sort of idea of like, oh yes, there's for the next 20 meters, the terrain is pretty mild, so we're okay. Or like there's a big dip after the next thing, corridor or whatever, right? The problem with it is that it also appears to try to lead people towards the World's Grave layer and deeper and deeper and deeper than they would otherwise go. So although all of that intuitive knowledge that they're getting from the Bacchanal, from the amulet, is real, it's also selective in a way that can push them to perhaps not so optimal choices. And the delvers that have used it, several of the teams have come back narrowly avoiding death. Which side got it? I'm thinking this is more of a Consociate Empire type of artifact.
What if it's changed hands?
Or what if it's changed hands? Yeah, well, perhaps it was found by one side. Their delvers got led into some iffy situations. It was found by the other side. Yeah.
Or perhaps the weakened team coming back was ambushed, and it's just another arrow in the quiver of complaints between the.
Perfect. I love that. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense as well with our setting. Yeah, what do you think about that?
I like that. Maybe even the fact that it is driving people into the World's Grave, that there's something specifically that it's driving its wielders to find, but what that is a mystery for the GMs to decide.
I like to think that it's something actually innocuous, that it's not like a great evil, it's not something that it's not actually trying to kill these people. But it is prefer that it was something like maybe it's trying to I don't know, we reunite maybe with another set of artifacts, or it needs to be in a specific place for some reason. I'd prefer it to be less of a, oh yes, this is another thing that will murder you here, but more of
the murder is ancillary to its primary purpose.
And still, yeah, that's right, yeah. So what it's trying to do is it's trying to get somewhere, yeah.
No, I like that. I do like the idea actually that it's trying to reunite with a collection of artifacts that it's leading into the world's grave would just be the first step, perhaps.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, you could almost run a campaign around something like that.
Absolutely could. Yeah, especially since you've got the political machinations of the other side trying to get it back. Maybe they know more about the final purpose of the Bacchanal's collection of items than the people who currently have it. Oh gosh, yes, no, I'd run that for sure.
Look at that. We're so smart and handsome.
Yeah, well, I'll do smart, you do handsome. All right, now...
all right, buddy. It's true. I mean, Poles are not very they're not known for their intellect, but I guess they're not known for their looks either. So, damn it all.
I mostly associate them with unrelenting toughness, being invaded a lot, and winged hussars. So I'm not sure I really have any real sort of.
I think a lot of people in Europe think of us as petty thieves, and also stealing jobs from hardworking Brits. Which is true. Which is 100% true. That's in our constitution.
Thought about everybody that's not a Brit, including other Brits. Anyway, so let's
for you.
Let's have a crack.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Let's do it. I will give you an artifact as well. Mm-hmm. Okay. The billow of the bootless blackguard.
The billow of the bootless blackguard. The billow immediately tells me that this is a cloak. Because it billows. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, could be. Could be a cloak, could be a sail.
Mm-hmm.
I think a billow is also an old name for a sail. But I just like the word billow.
Yeah,
billow,
I think it's just a verb, but I'm not 100% sure about that. I might look that up later, actually.
Yeah.
But to me, a billow sounds like a cloak. And a blackguard, even if you do put it in two words, it does make me think of, blackguard. It's a villain of some description. And it was the black-booted blackguard, or
billow of the bootless blackguard.
Bootless. Oh, he
doesn't have a boot.
Okay.
Or doesn't have a pair of boots. I don't know. That's up to you. That's up to the magic. That's up to the magic of this format.
You keep giving me tricky ones where I have to decide not just one thing, but two things. You gave me a person I need to decide what the abacus was. You've given me an artifact, but specifically references this individual, the bootless blackguard. I just come up with two things. Two things, man.
Well, very sneaky of me, isn't it?
You are doubly sneaky.
But you're doing that thing where you're making me think, and I don't like that.
That's fair.
I hate thinking. Thinking's for idiots. As a teacher, I can say that.
It's true.
Kids, quit school. Is pointless. Don't do it. Spelling? Oh my God, who cares? Just let Google do it. I'm going to put that up on our YouTube channel. We have a YouTube channel, by the way.
Neat.
But there's nothing on it.
Neat. So very neat, because there's nothing to make a mess of it. I should stop mucking around here, because I've got to come up with what the devil a bootless blackguard is. All right. Okay. The blackguard are the very traditional soldiers. Dang it! What is that nation? We've come up with several nations. I think people should have heard about that in episode.
We do have some nation names. Do you want to cross-reference our document that we can look at?
As I'm stuck on my phone, not my PC.
Oh, you're stuck on your phone. Give me a second.
So it was Old Delmarin. We put it to the west, and it was the old playground of the wealthy and rich. It was a coastal nation. I can't remember its name. It's got Del in the name somewhere.
South. Hold on. No.
Thank
Hold
you.
on. I'm looking through my notes here, and I will tell you in a second. No, that's more brazen.
Sorry about this, folks. Aaron wants to reference a specific thing, but
you people who are listening or watching this, you should just be happy that you're getting this, okay?
Absolutely.
Jesus Christ. People these days are so entitled. Gen
I wish
X?
I had a title.
Gen Z or Z?
I could be Lord Reagan, Lord of something. Books? I don't know. I've got a lot of books.
You could be a lord of something.
I do have enough books to be a library officially. I have more than 1,000 books. So.
Okay, hold on. I've almost got it. Other places. There we go.
Mm-hmm.
Other places. Okay, we've got the Kingdom of Cordonia, Old Helidia.
Old Helidia. That's what I was thinking of. All right.
Old Helidia rests to the west of the Unfettered League's territory, thriving and vibrant nation. Yes.
Yes. So, returning, if you've seen the cut, this is the cut. So, the Black Guard are the traditional defenders and soldiers, like the Royal Guard of Old Helidia. They are full plate mail, very, very tough. Naturally, the tradition has suffered since the fall of the Concordate. And Old Helidia had its own little sort of coastal empire thing going on that has since collapsed and sort of fallen back, particularly under the auspices of the Great Consociate. During the time of Old Helidia's sort of mini coastal empire, which is a bit in the past, there was a great leader, sort of perhaps the leader of the Black Guard in his full plate and so forth. And he was fighting on board a ship, defending a ship of the leaders of Old Helidia. And because it was in the middle of a storm, it was very slippery, and he was struggling to win this battle. And noticing previously that the sailors would often run around barefoot because it gives them better grip, he took his boots off to fight. And in the midst of this storm, yes, a great magical storm. It was definitely a magical storm. With his billowing cloak and plate mail, he managed to single-handedly defeat a great attacking force of something. Perhaps you can give me some advice on that. And in that
Nagas, sea Nagas, ocean Nagas.
Sea snake folk. I love it. Sea Nagas.
Sea Nagas?
And
touch Nagas? No.
Yeah. Yes. So see no Nagas, touch no Nagas, hear no Nagas.
How do fish communicate?
I don't know if they've got a lot to say, honestly. Exactly. Anyway,
Yeah, okay.
So in the midst of this magical storm and this great feat of sort of strength and a lot of people dying, which we know causes, magical stuff because that's how Wraith Quartz is formed, it has enchanted his cloak, his billow. So it now gives, honestly, maybe it's a little bit passé, but it can simply be a version of the cloak that gives you gliding.
Oh, that's really good.
So he was able to leap and sort of glide down and attack people and go from ship to ship and do things like that. And
I mean, they don't all have to be like world-shaking effects, right? Like that's a very cool and useful effect for an individual.
Absolutely, and it's got a neat little historical story about it. Everybody knows of the bootless Blackguard and his amazing billowing cloak.
I love it.
The bootless Blackguard. All right. That took an awfully long time because I needed to find out what Old Helidia was called.
Helidia.
Got to remember our own bloody world.
We did it together. We birthed it together.
Yes, and I love your choice of words.
You're welcome.
Okay, is it my turn now? To make you feel...
Are you giving me a place, right?
I should be giving you a place. All right. Now I just need to go over here on my phone. The place I have is called The Leering Lynx.
The Leering Lynx?
That's right.
Leering as in like...
And lynx as in the feline animal.
Wait, what? So, but it's a place?
Yes, it's a place.
The Leering Lynx. Okay.
Okay, I thought I typed that in, but it didn't go through.
No, you did. It's just at a weird... It's up there with where you typed Bacchanal.
Huh. Wow, apparently I'm a time traveler as well.
Time traveler. Yeah, time traveler. Anyway.
Or type traveling in this particular instance.
That's funny. Oh my god, yeah, that is one of Aaron's classic zingers. Just like Sheldon Cooper in my favorite TV show, The Big Bang Theory.
Thank you.
Did you know Big Bang Theory? It's about the Big Bang, like about the science thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's also a sex joke. Did you know that? Like banging, having a big bang, having
The
big
showrunners
sex.
are the same people who did Two and a Half Men. Two and a Half Men. So yes,
That was so good. That show was so good until they got rid of one of the men and replaced it with another man.
Sure.
Okay.
If
Anyway,
people enjoy it, I love them, but I do not.
Bazinga. Okay. The leering lynx. Okay. So, Aaron, you want me to work really hard to not make this into a whorehouse.
Okay, maybe a little.
So, okay. Well, it's not. Okay, the leering lynx. Oh, okay. Okay, the leering lynx is actually a statue. It is a very large statue of a lynx with gems for eyes. It is something that was uncovered during the Great Consociate Empire's first sort of foray into the abandoned, overgrown city of Haliacon. And it was the statue that was attached to a temple that was completely destroyed. Archaeologists have determined that it didn't just collapse because the city was abandoned for so long. It was actually destroyed on purpose. There were many other statues of lynxes there, and they had been defaced, literally defaced, as a lot of statues in history tend to be, to sort of erase them from history, except for this one. This particular statue, cast in some kind of obsidian, was perfect. It was completely untouched. Not much is known about what kind of god or goddess or pantheon or spirit or anything was worshipped or venerated in this place, but it has a particular effect on people who come and leave offerings to it. Okay. So the leering lynx, if you come before it and if you leave it an offering specifically of fresh fruit, its gem eyes will glow for just a split second. And you will, on the night that you go home and you go to sleep, you are guaranteed to dream of one true thing.
Oh.
And the problem with this is that this one true thing may be related to your life or may not be. It may be, for a lot of people, it is a completely out of context scene, but a small religion has kind of shot up around it, of people who, even if they don't understand what it is that they have been shown, they meditate on it and they see it as a kind of divine metaphor. Revelation. Oh yeah, divine revelation. The other thing is that I don't want people going in and giving this offering constantly. So I'm going to say that it only works on specific days, I think.
Maybe do you think essentially a cooldown? Like, if you
a cooldown. It's got a cooldown.
If you give an offering more than once in a month, then instead you'll have a week of nightmares or something.
Something like that, maybe.
Like, is it maybe like always the same nightmare? You're always chased by a giant lynx figure.
Yeah, and everyone would get it. Everyone would get it if they try to overdo it. So perhaps they've come up with maybe 6 and 8 holy days a year, perhaps, that you can go and do that. I would think that it is currently on the north side of Haliacon, in the Unfettered League's territory, right? And because I would see this as something that perhaps the Great Consociate Empire would say a bit iffy about that. Maybe, this doesn't fit in with our,
And immediately says to me that the small nascent cult that started these offerings and so forth to the statue would have started back when the Great Consociates controlled all of Haliacon.
Definitely.
When they lost direct access to it, one of the few things that has to do with crossover is that there are still some of these Lynxian cultists on the south side that try to they 6 or 8 times a year they smuggle themselves to the northern side so that they can give their offering and receive their dreams. And
Yeah. I would actually think that like getting together for religious celebrations would be something of a difficult topic for a lot of people on both sides,
actually, maybe it is more interesting to think that they've actually managed to receive some recognition, so that there's a small procession, and this group travels to the northern side, and they do
with
their bits and
minders.
pieces. Yes, always watched, because the various spy agencies are all very aware that this is one of the few ways that they can get messages to and from people. The cultists themselves don't want that, but maybe they need backing.
Maybe they don't have
or
much of a
get
choice.
blackmailed.
It's either this or don't go.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. I like that.
Not a whorehouse.
Not a whorehouse.
Okay. I have a place for you, my friend.
I thought you might.
Okay. This is not two things. This is just one thing. So don't worry about it.
I'll be.
It's just two words.
Believe you when you finished it. Oh, that helps.
Okay. All right. So the place is Poltroon's Palisade.
And 10 points for use of the word poltroon. Does not get used anywhere near enough.
I know. I read the word in a book, and I was like, "Oh my! It's been years since I've read it."
So for those who, and there's no shame if you don't, because it is an archaic and deeply underutilized word.
It's a big brain word.
Is a coward.
Yeah, poltroon is a coward. Yeah.
So the poltroon's palisade. All right. During the attack by the Unfettered League into Haliacon, on the northern side of town, there was a famous warrior. He had served with the Great Consociates for quite some time. I'm thinking a long-lived race. Let's go with a dwarf, I think. And when the Unfettered League, so he retired from the Great Consociate, still with centuries of life ahead of him. And when the Unfettered League attacked, for reasons people are not entirely sure, he did not join in. When the Unfettered League began to pour into Haliacon itself, and the Great Consociates were pulling back, he erected a palisade around his own little house. And I mean, we are talking like a townhouse-sized property here. Where he successfully held off the attackers, who didn't spend a lot of time on a single dwarf defending a singular house, a singular townhouse. And as the sort of occupation started to roll into place, he doesn't go out. How he survives, no one's entirely sure, although these days people do come and help him out, because frankly, people just assume that he's gone a little bit crazy. But he refused to fight, defend the walls, although he has built his own little mini palisade. It is tiny. I'm thinking of the row houses in a London or something like that. It's a very small space. He's clearly growing things in there to subsist on, drinks rainwater, and is still holding out, even after all these years, his own little refusing to be conquered house. It's the Unfettered League finds it politically. People just feel sorry for him.
Yeah.
He's
okay.
So yes, I think the Poltroon's Palisade is now, in today's age, it's almost a tourist attraction.
Okay, yeah, it's a bit of a local curiosity.
People go and visit. Yes,
it's much like that when Martin Luther King was assassinated, and then they turned his apartment block into a museum.
Right.
And they kicked out one of the they kicked out all the residents, because they were like, this is a museum now. And one of the residents that they kicked out was this old woman who was like, he wouldn't have wanted this. He would have wanted this to be used for real people. Because towards the end there, he was into class struggle and stuff like that. And then I think she was actually a little bit crazy, and she camped outside until now. I think she's still alive. I think she's still camping out there and giving sort of little pamphlets to people. But yeah, I mean, not sane, but also I have a lot of sympathy for her.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I tend to agree with her opinion, frankly,
Hmm.
what little I know of MLK. But I was thinking more sort of like the modern goofy micronations, frankly.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
it is
that's
the
right.
micronest of nations. It is.
Yeah. He's a sovereign citizen.
No, not that far. I
No,
don't.
not that far?
I
Okay.
want people to actually like him.
Oh, okay. Yeah, fair enough. Okay. Yeah,
To
okay.
any sovereign citizens in our
He's a
incredibly small audience,
micronation.
bugger off.
No.
Yes.
That's 80% of the people who would listen to this podcast.
I suspect not.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I really like that. Well, we've done it.
We've
Done it again. By
we make some
Jove.
more small myth takes. My goodness, by Jove! Oh, I like that. We're feeling
Yeah.
very, very archaic today. By
I'm feeling
Jove,
very
Paul
archaic.
June.
Yeah, that's right. I'm going to start talking like that at work, I think, because I can't get fired. It's impossible. And I hate my job.
I mean, I might do it at my work too, but given that I'm a game master, I don't know if anybody will notice a difference.
Oh, no, you see, I'm going to do it in an obnoxious way.
Right.
It's sort
any
of
way
your
to
job.
liven up a meeting.
Yeah. It's your job to not be obnoxious, literally, I think. Yeah.
Yes.
That's very hard. I could not do that. I don't think I could be a game master for hire. You know what I would do, though? I could be a wandering poet.
I agree. Yeah.
I could do that.
I mean,
Yeah.
in the sense that I suspect you'd do a lot of like mocking poems. I'm not sure you'd be.
They're not good.
No.
Listen to this. I do read poetry on occasion, and I do like writing poetry. Now, I'm under no illusion that any of my poems are actually good, because I like the dumbest poems, which are the ones that rhyme. Why? They sound good. When I was 8, rhyming poetry sounded good, and now still sounds good.
It sounds good to everybody. Poetry is a lot of different things, and rhymes is good poetry.
Rhymes is good. That's why people like rap so much, I think.
It's not a small reason for it, yeah.
Yeah. Some rap is good. Some rap is good. I like that. I couldn't be a rapper.
Genre. Some is great, some is terrible.
That's most genres. But yeah, you know who's good? Roots Maneuver. I found a CD by Roots Maneuver in a you probably don't. He's like a British rapper. He's really good. And I found a CD of his in a Vinnie's, which is a second-hand shop, which is a thrift shop for those of you who are not Australian. I think that's what they call them. A poor people shop. Anyway, and I was so amazed that someone would just throw out a treasure like that. Anyway.
You got some poetry? You going to read us some poetry, Chris? You got a rhyme?
Of my own poetry?
Yeah.
I don't have any.
That's what you're threatening to do. I mean, promise.
Oh, no. Okay, yes. There we go. It would be so funny if I had a book of my poems. No. I just have a document in my docs, which is just called A Poem. And it is, I will tell you, like with sadness of, it has 75,000 words in it.
Oh my goodness.
This is one I started about 8 years ago. And whenever I feel like writing a poem, I put it in that one document. So it's actually a nightmare to get to any one specific poem. I like going right to the bottom of the document, which is where all my earliest ones are. It's reverse. And then I'm like, wow, this poem's really terrible. Wow, what was I thinking? You can't rhyme orange and lorange.
Yes, you can.
What?
It's poetry. The rules are all just guidelines.
I think like Eminem. Eminem makes up words sometimes to rhyme. And I think that I could do that, but I couldn't do it quickly. What's slow rap? What's slow rap? Is that just poetry? Is that just poetry?
Pretty much.
Dang.
Coming up with it on the fly. No, I enjoy rhymes too. It does mean spending a lot of time on either in thought, coming up with words, or if I really get stuck, then I'll use the Rhyme Zone website.
Oh, Rhymes. Yeah. Right. I used to use Rhyme Zone for whenever I did poetry lessons with classes, because it's a really good resource for kids that are not engaged
Adults.
in poetry, and you can just tell them, hey, guys, here's a life hack. You don't have to think. You can just go to this website and it will think those words for you. And they're like, oh my God, that's so good.
Even when you've found a word, you've still got to make it make sense within the sentence. There's still a fair bit of work involved.
Did you know there's no rhyme for sentence? There's no rhyme. Nothing rhymes with sentence. That's a life fact. No, that's a life hack fact that you can tell kids that. Anyway, I'm going to stop the recording because I think we're done. Thank you, everybody, for listening and or watching, depending on how much of this makes it to the visual medium and how much of Aaron's head, which right now is almost completely composed of... No, right now it's about 5 to 6 individual pixels, which I believe does get...
I'm hoping that the upload has both of us much smoother because at the moment I have been spending most of the recording speaking with sort of intermediate still images of Chris.
God, I hate how they made Ben 10 not sexy anymore. Anyway, goodbye everyone.